Hey folks, Mark Levin here. Now, before we dive into today's episode, I want to talk about something truly valuable, protecting your financial future with gold. It's called diversification. Now, for that, I only trust Advantage Gold. They're the real deal with 5-star service and a sterling reputation. So give them a call today. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Tell them Mark Levin sent you. Trust me, you'll thank yourself in the future. Now let's get to the show. Results may vary. Consult with your financial professional.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin. He's going to beat President Putin. President Zelensky. I'm so focused on beating Putin, we got to worry about it.
Yeah,
anyway,
we understand. Yeah, that's just
President,
I'm better.
You are a hell of a lot better.
Minutes ago. You know, folks, it's very important, now more than ever, that you think for yourselves, that you use your own noggin, your own common sense, your own experience to sort through all of this. There are a lot of agendas flying around here, none of which are for the country. In about 25 minutes Eastern Time, 6:30 p.m., Joe Biden will have a press conference. We will take it live. And we're being told by the media, good, bad, and indifferent, that this is make or break. Now, first of all, he's not going to all of a sudden be Albert Einstein. But what do they mean this is make or break? So if he has a decent press conference, he no longer has dementia? What does this mean? Or if he has a bad press conference, that just underscores that he has dementia? And the press, of course, are going to use this as an opportunity, I predict, because it'll happen, to try and recover from the destruction they've done to themselves. You see, the only people who have a worse poll rating than Biden would be Kamala Harris and the American media. The American people detest the American media because the American media is like Pravda. It's like Al Jazeera. To watch Jake Tapper, to watch the conga line of miscreants and malcontents, the reprobates in the media, the Democrat operatives, and the ideologues, all of a sudden, feign anger that they were lied to, is really quite an act. The media, as it turns out, are filled with drama queens. They were colluders. They were conspirators. In 2000, when Biden was hiding out in his basement, campaigning from his basement, all the way through the minute before the debate. They are responsible for the predicament the Democrat Party is in today. Not America, the Democrat Party. Now, America is in a predicament to the extent that our enemies see that we have a president who has dementia. And so this is provocative. And I worry about the next half year if this man remains in office. But to show you how unserious the America Pravda, the America Al Jazeera are, to show you how unserious the Hollywood clown show headed by George Clooney and his ilk, to show you how unserious the devious, diabolical, evil, America-hating Democrat Party is. None of them are calling for the 25th Amendment to remove Joe Biden immediately. Because their interests, as I've been saying day in and day out, are for the Democrat Party, not America. The Democrat Party, in their view, has to reshape America, has to rejigger America, has to turn America inside out. Only then is America worthwhile. Only then should there be allegiance to America. When a monopoly party, a Democrat Party, takes over, only then is the country worth defending. The New York Slimes, it's quite a remarkable institution, what they've gotten away with, is a corporation. It is a corporation that has a board of directors. It is a corporation that has executives. It is a corporation that has employees. And rather than making widgets, it produces barely newspapers. It is a bankrupt enterprise that was saved by a billionaire, among others, from Mexico. Just as the Washington Post is a bankrupt enterprise saved by a billionaire who founded Amazon, Bezos. It cannot survive on its own as a news operation. But the New York Times has put out 2 editorials demanding that Joe Biden drop out of the race. Not that he drop out of the presidency. No. That he drop out of the race. We all saw what happened at the debate. He can't win. The problem is he can't govern. We have a Politburo, a cabal that's governing. That is abundantly clear. But no, we can't do that. We like his policies. We like the Politburo and the cabal, whoever they are. They're doing a hell of a job for the American Marxist movement, the Marxists and the Islamists. He's the most radical president in American history, whether he knows it or not. That's good. But we're afraid he can't win. So now the New York Slimes, realizing that they have to do more than beat down Joe Biden, has an enormously long editorial. 1, just hold on, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 printed pages, size 10 font. Donald Trump is unfit to lead, by the editorial board. The editorial board. What is this editorial board? It's a gaggle of about a dozen, maybe 18. You could look it up on Google. Radical left-wing kooks who get together and they write their editorials. Extremists. America-hating, Marxist, Islamist revolutionaries. And so when they say the New York Times has said, you're talking about a dozen to maybe a score of individuals. They said it. That's all. What is the New York Times has said? The New York Times is a newspaper or a website. It doesn't say anything. can't speak, can't hear, doesn't have a brain. And I notice when they hide behind the editorial board, they don't list, as they should in every instance, the members of the editorial board and their backgrounds. Again, you can Google it. They're all radical kooks. And the names of the individuals who've written this particular editorial, because all score of them haven't written the editorial. It's a couple of them. And it is a vicious, vile hit job from a newspaper that promoted Stalin, Hitler, and Castro, telling us that Donald Trump is unfit to lead. A newspaper that has promoted Joe Biden. All these years, lying to the readership. All these years. Now pretending that they're righteous. They've never been righteous. They can't be righteous. It is a corrupt corporation. Through and through. From one century to the next. They write here, the editorial board is a group of opinion journalists. Well, what is an opinion journalist, Mr. Producer? There's no such thing as an opinion journalist in the profession. Unfortunately, there is no profession, so they're all opinion journalists. What does that mean? That means their opinion, their advocacy, their ideology is the news. So they confess to it right here. A group of opinion journalists whose views are informed by experience, research, debate, and certain long-standing values. It is separate from the newsroom. They're opinion journalists. How can they be separate from the newsroom that's filled with journalists? So they don't even know how to write. They're basically illiterate, and they're moronic. And so they attack Donald Trump, who next week will be nominated as the Republican nominee for President of the United States. And I'm not going to bother reading this to you. Why should I? They've written more about Donald Trump in this editorial, listen to me, than they did about the Holocaust since the 1930s to 1945. They spent more words, more ink, attacking Donald Trump in this one editorial today than they did in a decade of Nazi control over Germany and the extermination of the European Jews. They've spent more time in this editorial, words and ink, trashing Donald Trump than they did Joseph Stalin in 1932 when he was slaughtering the Ukrainians. They've spent more words and ink in this editorial, trashing Donald Trump, than they've ever spent trashing Fidel Castro. And yet, they claim a self-serving mantle to dictate our politics, to dictate our governance, to tell us who should be the nominee of which party, who should not be the nominee of which party. Because, truth be told, this isn't a true American First Amendment media organization. This is a Marxist, thuggish, fascist-like propaganda operation. And that's why the editorial board members hide behind the phrase, the editorial board. I've got a ton to say. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
You know, folks, we're living in unprecedented times. That September 18th could be a watershed moment. With President Trump's sentencing approaching, we're facing potential political upheaval, which could create some dangerous market and economic chaos. That's where gold and diversification come in. Gold has always been one of the ultimate safe havens in times of turmoil. And when it comes to gold, I only trust one company. I've dealt with many. That's Advantage Gold. They're a 5-star American company that I recommend to everyone. They're the experts in helping Americans protect their money with gold and silver silver using existing retirement savings with zero fees. So call Advantage Gold today at 800-900-8000 and they'll send you a free gold investment kit to help you get started. Tell them Mark Levin sent you to see if you qualify for $1,000 in free silver. Don't wait until September 18th. It's already here, folks. Call 800-900-8000 for your free gold investment kit from Advantage Gold. That's 800-900-8000. Tell them Mark Levin sent you. Performance may vary. Always consult your financial tax professional. We will go to Biden Live. Assume he is. As soon as he goes to the podium, so stick with us. So now the Washington Compost, not to be outdone by the New York Slimes, which has a very similar record to the New York Slimes when it comes to American history and world history and the Holocaust. Michael Shearer, another hack. Democratic allies plot effort to defend Kamala Harris against Trump attacks. Now, Kamala Harris is unfit to be president. She's unfit to be president for many reasons, on many levels. But certainly, as the tip of the spear in the cover-up of cover-ups, the greatest cover-up in political history, for years, while she met with Joe Biden, had lunch with Joe Biden, I heard one of my colleagues regurgitate what I've been saying here. That's a good thing. Campaigning with Joe Biden, she knew and knows that Joe Biden is not fit to be president of the United States. Yet, she has defended him. She's defended him when asked. She's defended him voluntarily when not asked. She has lied. She's looked into the camera, looked into your eyes. She's lied. Moreover, we have a Constitution of the United States. Maybe the Washington Compost isn't aware of it. Maybe the New York Slimes isn't aware of it. And we have a 25th Amendment to the Constitution. And she is responsible for ensuring that if Joe Biden is not fit to be president due to dementia, that she takes steps under the Constitution that she took an oath to uphold to bring that to the attention of the United States Congress. She and a majority of the cabinet, in a letter to the leadership of Congress, are supposed to spell out the problems, the frailties, the issues that now the media wants you to believe they're reporting about as if they're newly found information. That's her job. She has 5 jobs, 5 responsibilities. That's the biggest one. That's the biggest one. Secession. Succession. And she won't do it because she's ambitious. Because she knows that if she steps into this, she'll destroy any chances she has to become president. Maybe she'll be a president for a few months, but that's about it. But look how the Washington Compost, Michael Shearer, write. The Kamala D. Harris cavalry is coming. Democratic donors and strategists, alarmed by the recent stumbles of President Biden, have launched an advertising of public research to create what one group calls a pro-Kamala surround sound campaign to improve public perceptions of the vice president. Now, I can go on. They're going to spend millions to create a fiction, a lie, a deceit, a fraud, just as they did with Biden. That Kamala is a leader. She's a statesman. She's exactly what we need. That she be the first black woman president. That she's been absolutely brilliant as vice president. More totalitarian-like mind control, thought control, propaganda control. And the Washington Post is celebrating it. I'll be right back. Hi, this is Mark Levin, and I've got an urgent message that can't wait. September 18th is coming, and with it, President Trump's sentencing. We're staring down this barrel again of potential market chaos. The question isn't if there's going to be a fallout, but how much. In times of instability, many smart investors turn to gold as part of diversification. And when I think of gold, I think of Advantage Gold. These folks are true partners in helping Americans find financial stability. Advantage Gold's experts understand the connection between politics and economics, and they can navigate you through these crazy times using gold to help shield your hard-earned wealth. So call my trusted friends at Advantage Gold now at 800-900-8000, 800-900-8000 for a free gold investment kit. If you wait until September 18th, it might be too late. 800-900-8000 for your free investment kit. Tell them Mark Levin sent you to see if you qualify for up to $1,000 in free silver. That's 800-900-8000. Performance may vary. Always consult your financial and tax professional.
The establishment's worst nightmare. Mark Levin. Call in now. 877-381-3811.
No Biden yet. Maybe he's on the crapper or something, Mr. Producer. But anyway, as soon as we get him, you'll get him. I was thinking about something before I came on the program, and I posted it. Donald Trump outwitted the Democrat Party, the media, and Hollywood in one brilliant move. Kudos to him. Trump demanded debates with Biden. Biden's ego got the better of him and relented. But he set all kinds of conditions he didn't think Trump would accept. Trump accepted the conditions in a nanosecond. And the stage was then set for the humiliation of Biden. And who can forget all the unsolicited advice Trump received on how to conduct himself during the debate? He needed none of it. He was ready, cool as can be, substantive, and knew exactly what to do in the debate from beginning to end. He knew Biden better than all his advisors and media sycophants combined. Trump outwitted all of them. And the Democrat Party, media, and Hollywood are still in chaos. Of course, that's not to say that they won't get their legs back, folks, and everything must be done to defeat them and defeat them badly, because they are only going to become more desperate, unhinged, and extreme. But Trump outsmarted them. He exposed them. He ripped the cover off the cover-up. He gets no credit for this, and I was thinking about it. People were even saying, why did he accept the debate? He better do this, he better do that, he better do this. You know, the guy's always underestimated if you think about it. So in the Washington Compost kiss-ass piece for Kamala Harris, they're working with the Way to Win group, raising tons of money to remake Kamala Harris into something she is not. They write a memo circulated by Way to Win calls for an expanded social media influencer and content creator strategy, paid advertising in key states, and expanded research. The group released new battleground state polling on Tuesday that argued Harris would get a significant boost from younger voters, voters who don't like Biden or Trump, and independents. So as you can see, Harris is working behind the scenes. She'll deny it, but who cares? We know human nature. We know how these people are. They're power hungry. They will walk over their grandmother to get to the next leg in the ladder, the next step. And so they're already pumping up Kamala Harris. I actually think she'd be quite easy to defeat. But she's not qualified to be president, given her failure every minute of every day to actually uphold the Constitution of the United States and the 25th Amendment. All she needs to do is take the editorials from the New York Times, Mr. Producer. But she sees it. The cabinet sees it. They all see it. Here's Kamala Harris at a rally today. She sounds very presidential, doesn't she? Cut 12, go.
They taught us that we could do anything and should never be burdened by the limitations of other people to be able or not be able to see what can be. And this is that community who understands and can see what is possible unburdened by what has been.
She's given the same exact speech without a change in a single syllable for 4 years. And people really don't even understand what the hell she's talking about. It doesn't matter. It's a stupid speech. She gives it everywhere. It's the same speech. Should never be burdened by the limitations of other people to be able or not to be able to see what can be. I have no idea what that means. And this is that community, must be a minority community, who understands and who can see what is possible, unburdened by what has been. Here she is again at the rally today. Cut 13, go.
And I know many of us have been involved in these elections every 4 years, and nearly every time we say, this is the one. This here is the one. This is the one. The most existential, consequential, and important election of our lifetime. Now, we always knew this election would be tough, and the past few days have been a reminder that running for president of the United States is never easy, nor should it be. But one thing we know about our president, Joe Biden, is that he is a fighter. He is a fighter. And he is the first to say, when you get knocked down, you get back up. You get back up. So we will continue to fight. And we will continue to organize, and in November we will win.
I don't know who writes this stuff. That's inspiring? Is that motivating? He's a fighter. He'll get up. He'll get back up. We know one thing about Joe. He's a fighter. He's a fighter. Okay. You see my point, America? She has a job to do under the Constitution of the United States, and she refuses to do it. Look at the hypocrisy, the contradictions of the media and the Democrat Party, trying to determine if Joe Biden should be their nominee because he doesn't have his wits. Everybody saw it. If he had one bad night, we wouldn't be in this position, would we? He has a bad night every night. He has a bad day every day. We know it. They know it. He knows it. And the three people most responsible for protecting and defending Biden from we the people are three women. The three women of the apocalypse. Three women. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Nancy Pelosi. These three women are so consumed with their own power, with their own egos, that they will, and if necessary, continue to carry listless Joe Biden on their shoulders for themselves, for their own ambition, for their own power. It's an amazing thing. And now to hear some of these people in the media is really remarkable. Here's Jen Psaki. Jen Psaki has been lying to we the people since the moment she was a spokesperson for Joe Biden. Let us not forget. She was his first press secretary. Let us not forget she worked in his campaign. Let us not forget every day she was close to Biden. She heard him. She saw him. She knows and knew better than us that the man has dementia. And she still went in front of that microphone like the current press secretary, like Kirby, and lied to us day in and day out, as she lies on MSNBC, as MSNBC lied to us every damn day. From the morning shows to the nighttime shows, from the weekday shows to the weekend shows. And here's Jen Psaki on her podcast, Save America. Good Lord. Save America from her. Cut 14, go.
Kamala Harris, the vice president, I'm going to call her vice president now because I keep calling her. She is like, in my view, an undervalued talent. She's a very fierce communicator. She's very strong, especially on one of the core issues.
A very fierce communicator? You just heard her, and I could play 1,000 clips of her saying the same thing, or saying the stupidest things, or saying things that don't even make any sense. She's a fierce communicator, says the propagandist for Biden, the official government propagandist for Biden, who lied to you, who lied to we the people, day in and day out. Now she's going to tell us that Harris is a fierce communicator, an undervalued person. Go ahead.
Election maybe won or lost on, which is abortion rights. And this is why I think when she did a couple of interviews after the debate, I was sitting on the set with a bunch of other NBC anchors, and everybody was like, that was great. It's like, yeah. That's what she's doing out in the country, and nobody
talking about
is
abortion
really
around the country. That's what she's doing. What a leader! What does the vice president have to do with abortion? Nothing. Nothing. It's now a state issue. Well, we want legislation nationally. Well, you can't. It's beyond constitutional. Don't you read the Dobbs decision? It's up to the states. What about her border responsibility? What has she done? It's a disaster. She hadn't done a damn thing. Nothing. But it's the 25th Amendment. That's her responsibility. The 25th Amendment. Go ahead.
It's just, that's who she is. But there is a character out there. It's almost like public.
We'll be right back. No?
Mark Levin.
You know, folks, we're living in unprecedented times. And September 18th could be a watershed moment. With President Trump's sentencing approaching, we're facing potential political upheaval, which could create some dangerous market and economic chaos. That's where gold and diversification come in. Gold has always been one of the ultimate safe havens in times of turmoil. And when it comes to gold, I only trust one company. I've dealt with many. That's Advantage Gold. They're a 5-star American company that I recommend to everyone. They're the experts in helping Americans protect their money with gold and silver using existing retirement savings with zero fees. So call Advantage Gold today at 800-900-8000 and they'll send you a free gold investment kit to help you get started. Tell them Mark Levin sent you to see if you qualify for $1,000 in free silver. Don't wait until September 18th. It's already here, folks. Call 800-900-8000 for your free gold investment kit from Advantage Gold. That's 800-900-8000. Tell them Mark Levin sent you. Performance may vary. Always consult your financial tax professional. You know, it doesn't help Joe Biden that he's 20 minutes late with his press conference. No, I could give a damn whether he holds one or not, or he's 20 minutes late. Doesn't change a damn thing. But you're trying to create a perception, right, for the know-nothings out there. And so they move his press conference from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Eastern. And now it's 6:49 p.m. Eastern. He's 20 minutes late. I have a theory that they're looking for him. He got lost somewhere around the White House. But nonetheless, it's bizarre. The whole thing is bizarre. The media are bizarre. The Democrat Party, the Bidens, they're bizarre. It's a real freak show. Freak show. Maybe he's going to announce that he's not running, Mr. Producer. Who the hell knows? We'll be there, come hell or high water. Come commercial break or news break, we will be there. Focus group on The Daily Show yesterday. They thought they would make a funny. By the way, you see Stephen Colbert? What a pathetic chameleon he is. Now he's making Joe Biden jokes. All these people trying desperately to hold on to some aspect of character, of class, but they've lost it. They can't. But here they are, a focus group of black Americans. They want to see who they're going to vote for. They're going to vote for Trump or Biden. Cut 15, go.
So who will you be voting for in 2024, Daryl?
Do I have to say his name? I don't want to, but more than likely it's going to be Trump.
Yeah, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Who are you going to be voting for?
Biden.
And then Victor?
I'm with her.
Oh, Biden, okay.
Trump.
Eric Trump? Biden. Biden?
Trump.
Okay, we're an even split, which I didn't see that coming. So do you think there's going to be a big shift, any sort of change?
I think it's going to be a big shift.
Me too.
Big shift?
Yes.
Really? Okay.
For me, I've always been a Democrat, and it's like for the most part with the Democratic Party, they always make a bunch of promises that they can't deliver.
You know, they use the issues of the African American community as a soapbox to stand on and make promises, you know, just to get us to come out and vote. And then once we vote and everyone's in place, it's like, well, what happened?
People are getting smart to what's going on here. The black community, I hope in the Jewish community and other communities, they play us. They play us. And then you have real elites in the Democrat Party, in the media, in entertainment, including sports. They feel they have to go along as part of the elites. They want to know the big wigs. They want to know the big politicians. They want to know the big donors. It's incestuous. It builds one on top of the other. But here's the dirty little secret. There is a gap in the black community, the Jewish community, all these communities, between the elites and the commoner. And by a commoner, I don't mean people are common. By a commoner, I mean the vast majority of people in these various ethnic groups. And they're starting to get wise to this in all these ethnic groups, which is, wait a minute, that guy on TV, that guy on radio, that guy in Congress, he doesn't represent me. I don't give a damn what color he is. He can be the same color as me. He can be the same religion as me. Wait a second. All I know is they pray to the Democrat Party. All I know is they make promises all the time. All I know is we vote for them. We donate to them. We get the same crap every single time. In fact, it's worse now. As they expand their power, centralized power in Washington, open the border to foreigners, illegal aliens from all over the world, they give them our tax dollars, they give them our jobs. We can't get health care. Our system is overrun. And they say, vote for me, vote for me. The other guy's a monster, vote for me. Well, you know what? We're getting smart to this. Maybe that's what's going on. I want to say one other thing. I am concerned as I watch our friends in the media and listen to some of them. We're getting a little too cocky out there. This is a rare moment in political history, what's taking place. I'll give you that. The Democrats are on their heels. The media are on their heels. Really never happens. But they're not going away. This is an evil, vile ideology. They will devour, they will crush, they will steamroll whatever gets in their way. They're going to be back. It could be a few weeks, it could be a month. They're going to be back. They're going to be hellish. They're going to be vile. They're going to be desperate. And they'll be back stronger than ever, which is why we must not stand on our heels. We must not, as they say, lay on our laurels here. I'll be right back. This segment of the podcast is exclusively sponsored by Pure Talk. Pure Talk offers great coverage and can save your family money on your wireless bill every single month. Go to puretalk.com to find the plan that's right for you. Thank you again for listening, and thank you so much for this sponsorship, Pure Talk.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, America. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. I now understand You know, this NATO meeting's going on in Washington, and he was going to hold a presser when the meetings were over. And Peter Doocy says these meetings always run late, so he's not clear why the White House said it would be at 6:30 when it's more likely to be at 7:30 Eastern Time. Beats me. But again, we're here to pick up the pieces when it occurs. I don't think he'll take a ton of questions. The long knives are out. Let's just admit it. And I believe the invisible hand behind all this is Barack Milhouse Benito Obama. Why else would George Clooney contact Barack Benito Milhouse Obama to let him know he's running an op-ed? Obama didn't wave him off. But you've got all kinds of Obama sycophants throughout the Biden regime. It was never really the Biden presidency. He was a figurehead, so to speak. The radicals, the Marxists, the Islamists, those are Obama people. The radicals, the revolutionaries, those are Obama people. And so the foreign policy, Obama people, mixed in with Bernie Sanders people. These departments, these agencies, they're pretty much running on autopilot, headed by these radicals. Look at the Department of Justice. Every top position is filled with a radical, Marxist, bomb-throwing individual, most of whom earn their spurs in the Obama regime, the Obama-Biden regime. Obama did not want Biden to be the nominee. He didn't endorse him. Obama supported Hillary Clinton. So there's bad blood. There's always been bad blood. Obama got to know Biden, frankly, and he got to know that Biden is an idiot. And I don't mean dementia. I'm talking about before the onset of dementia. I don't think he respected him very much. And there's been bad blood. Apparently something involving Michelle Obama and a friend of the Bidens. They turned on the friend, and the friend became a confidant of Michelle Obama. You know, all the intrigue. Peyton Place, older people used to call it. Peyton Place, a soap opera. All that goes on and is going on. There's so much going on under the radar that you and I, Mr. and Mrs. America, are not aware of, but it's going on. Events are taking place. Cabals are being formed. Letters for public consumption are being drafted. Statements and announcements are being prepared. Just remember, these are all politicians. And the vast majority of politicians care about one thing, their own ass. That's it. These guys, these Democrat senators in Republican states or Republican-leaning states, they're trying to figure out what to do. Sherrod Brown, a.k.a. Sherrod Brown. Testicles, a.k.a. Tester in Montana. Well, has that guy gained weight? He's a big fat blob, that guy. What the hell's going on with him, Mr. Producer? Holy mackerel. But nonetheless, what should they do? You've got Casey in Pennsylvania. He's all for Biden, except in the last several days, he hasn't been seen, like the rest of his career. Fetterman is a character witness for Biden. He says, look, I had a debate, and if everything was based on the debate, I would be a senator. No, that's not it, Fetterman. Joe has what's called dementia. Not a stroke. Dementia. I can spell it for you. He's not going to get better. He's going to get worse. And then you can see what's going on. But, you know, every one of these individuals, particularly the ones turning on Biden who knew that he had problems in the media, in sports, in Hollywood, the phony comedy shows at night, they all knew this. They all knew it. Look, let me put it to you this way. We saw what we saw on TV. We heard what we heard on TV or radio. They know this guy. They've been in events with this guy. They've been in meetings with this guy. Now they're coming forward. 18 months ago when I was with him, I knew something was wrong. Oh, good for you. Or this reporter in January. I had people, staffers, but I had to. And then we have Chuck Todd. I've told you, I've never liked this guy. He's a phony and a fraud and a freak. And Democrat hack, just like his lovely wife. As I'm here looking for the cut, it's cut 11. Cut 11. Now, this is a guy, Chuck Todd, who destroyed Meet the Depressed. Now he's kind of flopping around like a flounder over there at NBC. What are we going to do with this guy? Such a loser. Cut 11, go.
It has made me want to rethink a lot of the Biden biography. I still can't believe he ran for president in the first place, given that his family was in crisis.
Wait a minute. Did you tell anybody that? No. So this is the rewrite of history, of everybody's personal biography, of their resume. I can't believe he ran. Excuse me. As if nothing happened before the debate. To watch him, to watch Tapper, to watch them all. It's disgusting. Stephen Colbert, Clooney. They had this massive fundraiser. And it's not till after the debate, he says, we were at the fundraiser and I could see something wasn't right. You sat on your ass. You didn't say anything. These people are liars. They're dishonest. They're narcissistic. They're a mob. Let's go back to Chuck Todd. Go ahead.
It has made me want to rethink a lot of the Biden biography. I still can't believe he ran for president in the first place, given that his family was in crisis.
Yes.
In 2018. You look at what has happened. I can't believe he put his family through this.
No.
And now
who said that? I said that. I said that. Others have too, I'm sure. He never said it. People in the media, I still can't believe it. The family's in crisis. He didn't speak out. He said nothing. Go ahead.
Behavior now in clinging to this, I think the entire narrative on Joe Biden is going to change, in that he's always been, everything has been about his ambition, and his ambition comes first.
Wow. TL squared. You know what that means, Mr. Producer? Too little, too late. I learned that from Nixon. In his notes, he used to put TL2. Too little, too late. That's Chuck Todd. Too little, too late. I believe that's what the wife says, anyway. Mika Brzezinski, all right. I have to say what I have to say. She's right. She was right today. That's right, I said it. Mika was right today about pointing out that Obama's behind this. I'm 100% convinced of it. 100%. Let's take a listen, shall we? Cut 2, go.
Yeah, this wasn't George Clooney.
What do you mean?
It just wasn't. Come on.
Who do you think it was? Matt Damon?
It was not Matt Damon.
Who do you think it was?
It wasn't Julia Roberts either.
Who do you think it was? You can say the name. You won't melt. It's not Voldemort. Are you saying you think Barack Obama put him up to this?
I think that Barack Obama has a lot of influence, and I think that there's a lot there.
There's a lot there.
There's a lot there.
There is a lot there, Willie.
I'll tell you, there are two people in this picture, and one has had a presidency that was absolutely, undeniably historic.
Yeah. Well, I think you have two people that had extraordinarily
historic in terms of legislative accomplishments.
Well, like you say, and
they're both historic.
And they're both historic. And Barack Obama,
for sure.
Affordable Care Act, George.
All right, that's enough. That's enough of the stupid talk. She's right to the extent that Obama's involved in this. Obama's too much of an egomaniac. he's too much of an egomaniac. He's looking at this. He's saying, I got to get involved in this. I got to fix this. Joe's got to go. I never liked Joe. I never wanted Joe. I dragged him into the vice presidency. I thought it mattered. It turned out it didn't. It's a pain in the ass. His family's a pain in the ass. Even though I've laced the administration, secreted the administration with Obamaites and assorted Marxists and Islamists, we can do better than this. Kamala, I can work better with Kamala. I can work better with Kamala. And now they're building up Kamala, putting aside tens of millions of dollars to create a fiction that Kamala is some kind of statesman, some kind of leader. Just fantastic. And she'll save abortion for women like nobody else can. And how will she do that, by the way? We can get a federal law. No, you can't. Supreme Court said it's not a federal matter. So what is she going to do? She's not going to do anything. All talk, no action. Handed the border. Border's a disaster. I don't even know if she ever went to the border. She can't complete her sentences, and she doesn't even have dementia. She gives the same speech at every single stop. The future's yours. Don't be held back by the past. You are able. They are Cain. You are... What the hell is she talking about? I don't know. The foggiest idea. But she's historic. I'll make a deal. The Democrats and their media are very confused. They push DEI. I've talked about this several times. Diversity, equity, and what's the I for again? Oh, inclusiveness. It's being pushed throughout our society, in our schools, in our businesses, hiring practices. We have DEI personnel throughout the country, tens of thousands of them, to make sure that there is diversity. What is it again? Equity and inclusion, which means affirmative action. That's all it means. It's not merit. And so when you point it out, you're a racist. That may be a DEI hire. What, are you a racist? What do you mean? And meanwhile, they're auditing for DEI practices to make sure that you're implementing them. So which is it? Which is it? They don't care. The left, the radicals, the Marxists, they want it both ways. So when you point it out, you say, there you go. I know you support DEI. That must be a DEI. No. Hey, you racist pig. No, excuse me. You're the racist for pushing it. But I'd make a deal. I'd say, I'll tell you what. If I'm a Democrat, which I'm not, never will be, particularly given what they've turned into, we'll go with the genitalia. We'll go with the race. Just pick a different black woman. You know what, America? There are brilliant people of both sexes and all colors. Brilliant. We can do better than this president who's white. We can do better than this vice president who's black. We can do better than this president who's male. We can do better than this vice president who's female. That's a fact. It doesn't help anybody in this country, regardless of their race or their genitalia or their transitioning or anything else. It doesn't help anybody in this country to put these incompetent boobs in these positions. Period. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
You've heard me say for a long time that cell phone service with Pure Talk can be about half the cost of Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile. You hear just $20 a month for unlimited talk, text, plenty of data, and you might be thinking, well, what's the catch? There's no way Pure Talk can offer a cell phone service that cheap. I say, just ask the thousands and thousands of my other listeners who've already switched. They're loving that they're on America's most dependable 5G network. They love Pure Talk's U.S. customer service and their selection of premium phones. So don't wait any longer. It's time to start supporting companies that share our values, like creating American jobs and supporting our veterans. It's time to switch your cell phone service to Pure Talk. Plus, with no contract and 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose. Go to puretalk.com/Levin, puretalk.com/Levin, and you'll save 50% off your first month. Again, that's puretalk.com/Levin to start saving now on your cell phone plan. You know, my wife, Julie, sent me this, and she raises this with me all the time, and she's 100% right. When it comes to we, the good guys, when we're down in the polls, we get dispirited and act resigned. When we're up in the polls, we get complacent. Them, when they're down in the polls, they rally and fight. When they're up in the polls, they get further energized and push harder. There's really something to this mindset, America. And in part, I blame our own media. They keep going through the polls. Oh, we're leading in the battleground states. Oh, we've got more of the younger vote. Oh, we've got more of the black vote. Oh, I think the Jewish vote's going to move. And I discuss these things not from a pom-pom cheerleader perspective, but from two perspectives. Number one, don't let these polls control your activism or your lack thereof. And number two, they could be wrong, like they've been in the past. Always fight like you're behind. Whether it's a military operation, whether it's a political operation, whether it is a sporting event, you don't sit on your lead. No, you crush your opponent. Just in case. Just in case your superstar gets hurt. Just in case you have a bad period or quarter or a couple of innings. You don't sit on it. Anything can happen. So as she writes, when we're down in the polls, we get dispirited and act resigned. When we're up in the polls, we get complacent. For them, when they're down in the polls, they rally and they fight. When they're up in the polls, they get further energized and push harder. Like right now, with this Biden thing, they're not giving up. They're not rolling over and playing dead. They're having a fight. It's a public fight. It's not helping them. But once they resolve this issue, one way or the other, hundreds of millions of dollars are going to pour in. Their political militia will step up. Their media will kick back into gear. They've learned nothing because they don't want to learn anything. Everything they do is purposeful. The entire Democrat Party industrial complex will be oiled, the gears will be running, and they'll be pumping. They'll be on the move. I really, resent's too strong of a word. I really am troubled by hosts who keep talking up polls. You don't have to lie about it. You can mention them. But don't talk them up like they're the end-all and be. How many more times are we going to get burned? We already know there's a fraud element built into their vote. I don't get it, and I never will. And they're not helpful. The people who use these like they're, a gift from God, like they're in the Bible. I'll be right back. You've heard me say for a long time that cell phone service with Pure Talk can be about half the cost of Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile. You hear just $20 a month for unlimited talk, text, plenty of data, and you might be thinking, well, what's the catch? There's no way Pure Talk can offer a cell phone service that cheap. I say, just ask the thousands and thousands of my other listeners who've already switched. They're loving that they're on America's most dependable 5G network. They love Pure Talk's U.S. customer service and their selection of premium phones. So don't wait any longer. It's time to start supporting companies that share our values, like creating American jobs and supporting our veterans. It's time to switch your cell phone service to Pure Talk. Plus, with no contract and 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose. Go to puretalk.com/Levin, puretalk.com/Levin, and you'll save 50% off your first month. Again, that's puretalk.com/Levin to start saving now on your cell phone plan. All right, the president's been speaking for about 5 minutes. No real screw-ups. Lies, yes. Let's take it live. Go ahead.
And other necessities. And economists tell us that would cost the average American working family another $2,500 a year. It's a tax of $2,500 a year. Second, our efforts to secure the border, southern border, is working. After Trump killed the bipartisan effort to secure the border, Republicans and Democrats had worked on, because he thought it would benefit me and make him a loser, Republicans walked away. So I took executive action last month. As a consequence, working with Mexico, border encounters have gone down over 50%. The current level is lower today than when Trump left office. Third, for months, the United States has been working to secure a ceasefire in Gaza, to bring the hostages home, to create a path for peace and stability in the Middle East.
You're a disaster.
6 weeks ago, I laid out a detailed plan.
You're a disaster.
In writing. It was endorsed by the UN Security Council, the G7.
Wow.
That framework is now agreed on by both Israel and Hamas.
No, it isn't.
So I sent my team to the region to hammer out the details. These are difficult, complex issues. There's still gaps to close. We're making progress.
No, you're not.
The trend is positive. And I'm determined to get this deal done and bring an end to this war, which should end now. Let me conclude where I began.
Why are you funding Iran?
We're the United States of America.
We are?
We are the indispensable nation.
Yes.
Our leadership matters. Our partnerships matter. This moment matters.
You need to go.
We must rise to meet it. With that, I'll take your questions.
Here we go.
I've been given a list of people to call on here. Reuters, Jeff Mason.
Mr. President, your political future has hung over the NATO summit a little bit this week. Speaker Pelosi made a point of suggesting that your decision on whether to stay in the race was still open. George Clooney and a handful of lawmakers have called on you to step aside.
What's this George Clooney stuff? What a clown show.
The UAW leadership is concerned about your ability to win.
UAW just endorsed me, but go ahead.
Thank you. My question for you is, how are you incorporating these developments into your decision to stay? And separately, what concerns do you have about Vice President Harris's ability to beat Donald Trump if she were at the top of the ticket?
Oh, what a question.
Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be Vice President.
Stupid.
But I think she was not qualified to be president. So let's start there. Number one, the fact is that the consideration is that I think I'm the most qualified person to run for president. I beat him once, and I will beat him again. Secondly, the idea, I served in the Senate a long time. The idea that senators and congressmen running for office worry about the ticket is not unusual. And I might add, there are at least 5 presidents running or incumbent presidents who had lower numbers than I have now, later in the campaign. So there's a long way to go in this campaign. And so I'm just going to keep moving. And because, look, I got more work to do. We got more work to finish. There's so much, we made so much progress. Think about it. Think about where we are economically relative to the rest of the world.
Yeah, let's think about that.
Name me a world leader who wouldn't want to trade places with our economy.
That's not the test.
Over 800,000 manufacturing jobs.
No, you
1.5
didn't.
million. I mean,
but you're such a liar.
Moving. We got more to go. Working class people still need help. Corporate greed is still
from you.
Large.
Oh, corporate greed.
Prices, the corporate profits have doubled.
No, it's called inflation, and you caused it,
They're
genius.
coming down, and so I'm optimistic about where things are going. Danny Kemp, AFP.
The French press agency.
Thanks. Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to ask you about you mixed up President Zelensky and Putin earlier today. And you now have sort of your key allies, including the British Prime Minister, the President of France, the German Chancellor having to step in and make excuses for you on that. And officials here are saying off the record that your decline has become noticeable. Hasn't this now, frankly, become damaging for America's standing in the world? Thank you.
Did you see any damage to our standing in my leading this conference? Have you seen a more successful conference? What do you think? And
I think the Middle East is burning, and Putin's on the move, and Communist China is on the move, and Iran and Korea are on the move. That's what I think.
No, I'm sorry, Zelensky. And then I added 5 other names. Look, guys, the idea anybody suggests that we haven't had an incredibly successful conference. How many times did you hear in that conference, I know it sounds too self-serving, but other leaders, heads of state, in thanking me, saying the reason we're together is because of Biden.
Oh, that never happens.
Biden did the following. Look, folks, this is
the idea.
Well, anyway, I thought it was the most successful conference I've attended in a long time, and find me a world leader who didn't think it was. Next one.
Sure, that's difficult.
Sorry, Nancy Cordes, CBS.
Thank you, Mr. President. You mentioned other instances in history where presidents have faced a challenge, but what makes this moment in history so unique is that it is not your enemies who are calling on you to reconsider your decision to stay in the race. It's your friends, supporters, people who think you've done a great job over the past 4 years. Have you spent time thinking about what it would mean for your legacy, which you've worked decades to build, if you stay in the race, despite the concerns that voters say they have?
Notice they never talk about the effect on the American people in our country.
Well, look.
It's his legacy.
I'm not in this for my legacy. I'm in this to complete the job I started. As you recall, understandably, many of you and many economists thought my initial initiatives that I put forward, can't do that, it's going to cause inflation, things are going to skyrocket.
It did. It's disastrous.
What are you hearing now from mainstream economists?
What?
16 economic Nobel laureates said I've done a hell of a job.
The same 16 who always do for Democrats.
What's going to happen?
Yes, Mr. and Mrs. America.
If I'm reelected, that things are going to get much better. Our economy is growing. I was determined when I got elected to stop the trickle-down economic theory. If the wealthy did very well, everybody else would do well.
Marxist claptrap.
My dad was a well-read, decent guy.
His dad was an executive for the oil industry.
Middle-class people and working-class people need help. And so what happened is I decided to was able to implement as president what I believed when I was a senator. And that is that the way to build this economy is from the middle out and the bottom up.
Oh, come on with that crap.
Way, we grow the economy.
It's the top-down, massive spending, massive inflation.
Fine. And guess what? Find me a mainstream economist who said we haven't done well.
Let's find one.
What have we not done?
Where's Larry Kudlow?
And so we got more to do, though. We got to finish the job. And by the way, I come from the corporate state of the world. Delaware has more corporations registered in Delaware than every other state in the nation combined. I'm not anti-corporate, but corporate profits have doubled since the pandemic.
There you go.
It's time things get back in order a little bit.
I don't even know what that means. Corporate profits have doubled.
We're going to make sure that rents are kept at 5% increase of corporate rents for apartments and the like and homes are limited to 5%.
How's he done so far, America?
That I've been talking about, because we're going to continue to grow this economy. And by the way, remember how I got so roundly criticized for being so pro-union, not labor, union. Well, guess what?
What?
I've been the most pro-union labor president in history. Not a joke.
Yeah, you're unbelievable. You're George Washington.
We had the Treasury Department do a study. When unions do better, everybody does better.
Really?
Everybody does better.
Well, everybody's not doing better.
For example, remember when we talked about getting the computer chip industry back in the United States?
Yeah.
Used to be 40% of the industry. We invented the chip. 40% of the industry was in the United States. And former presidents decided that the best way to do it is find the cheapest labor in the world, send the product over there, and import what the product was. And so what did I do? I was told not to go over to Europe, to Asia, including Europe, but Asia. And I remember going to South Korea, convincing them to invest $20 billion
that
in the United States to build computer.
That was it. That did it.
And I asked why when they finally decided to do it. And the answer was because you have the safest economy in the world and you have the best workers in the world.
Trump set the foundation for all of this, all of it.
We've invested, there's over $50 billion in investment in computer chip manufacturing just coming into being. None of you thought that would happen. None of you thought that would happen. But it's happening. It's happening. And it's going to grow economies. All through. And
I wish somebody would tell him what it's like to be in a grocery store, the destruction of energy independence,
I've made no distinction. So
inflation, interest rates, homes at the highest level they've ever been.
We can't continue to build and grow the economy, make it
From
fair.
the top down.
Like I said, from my standpoint, when the middle class does well, that's when the whole economy grows.
They're not doing well.
Poor of a shot, the wealthy do well. But the wealthy got to start paying their taxes.
We are talking about, idiot.
Your Vice President Kamala Harris would be ready to serve on day one. Can you elaborate on that? What is it about her attributes and her accomplishments over the last 4 years that make her ready to serve on day one if necessary?
Lady's okay.
The way she's handled the issue of freedom of women's bodies to have control over their bodies.
Oh, she's been fantastic.
Secondly, her ability to handle almost any issue on the board. This was a hell of a prosecutor. She was a first-rate person, and in the Senate, she was really good. I wouldn't have picked her unless I thought she was qualified to be president from the very beginning.
Okay, but you haven't answered the question.
She is qualified to be president. That's why I picked her.
Boy, that was short. No, Mr. Producer?
Sports, Financial Times.
Thank you, Mr. President. Presidency is the most straining job in the world, and it's 24/7. How can you say you'll be up for that next year, in 2 years, in 4 years, given the limits you've acknowledged that you have today?
The limits I've acknowledged I have?
There's been reporting that you've acknowledged that you need to go to bed earlier and your evening around 8.
That's not true. Look, what I said was, instead of my every day starting at 7 and going to bed at midnight, it'd be smarter for me to pace myself a little more. And I said, for example, the 8, 7, 6 stuff, instead of starting the fundraiser at 9 o'clock, start at 8 o'clock. People get to go home by 10 o'clock. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, and if you looked at my schedule since I made that
it's pretty pathetic.
In the campaign, in the debate, I mean, my schedule has been full bore. I've done, where's Trump been? Riding around in his golf cart, filling out his scorecard before he hits the ball? I mean, look, he's done virtually nothing. And I have, I don't know how many, don't hold me to it, roughly 20 major events. Some of them with thousands of people showing up. And so I just think it's better. I always have an inclination, whether I was playing sports or doing politics, just to keep going, not stop. I just got to just pace myself a little more. Pace myself. And the next debate, I'm not going to be traveling into 15 time zones a week before. Anyway, that's what it was about. That's what it was about. And by the way, even with that, I love my staff, but they add things all the time. At the very end, I'm catching hell from my wife for that. Anyway, I'm sorry. Zeke Miller, Associated Press.
Thank you, Mr. President. 2 questions for you. First, on the NATO summit, President Zelensky, in your meeting with him, he pressed you to lift your limitations on the Ukrainian use of American weapons, saying that, in his public remarks afterwards, saying that Ukraine cannot win the war unless those limitations are lifted. Are you reconsidering your position on that? And then secondly, following up on Felicia's question there, leaders of your own party have said that they're not worried about that debate. They're worried about the next bad night and the bad night after that. How can you reassure the American people that you are up to the task and that there won't be more bad nights at a debate stage or somewhere else?
First thing about Zelensky asking for the ability to strike deep into Russia. We've allowed Zelensky to use American weapons in the near term and the near abroad into Russia. Whether or not he should be attacked. For example, should Zelensky, he's not, but if he had the capacity to strike Moscow, strike the Kremlin, would that make sense? It wouldn't. The question is, what's the best use of the weaponry he has, and the weaponry we're getting to him? I've gotten a more long-range capacity, as well as defensive capacity. And so our military is where I'm following the advice of my commander-in-chief, the chief of staff of the military, as well as the Secretary of Defense and our intelligence people. And we're making a day-to-day basis on.
All right, we're going to have to take a short break. We're going to keep monitoring this for you. We will come right back to it after the break. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
You've heard me say for a long time that cell phone service with Pure Talk can be about half the cost of Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile. You hear just $20 a month for unlimited talk, text, plenty of data, and you might be thinking, well, what's the catch? There's no way Pure Talk can offer a cell phone service that cheap. I say, just ask the thousands and thousands of my other listeners who've already switched. They're loving that they're on America's most dependable 5G network. They love Pure Talk's U.S. customer service and their selection of premium phones. So don't wait any longer. It's time to start supporting companies that share our values, like creating American jobs and supporting our veterans. It's time to switch your cell phone service to Pure Talk. Plus, with no contract and 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose. Go to puretalk.com/Levin, puretalk.com/Levin, and you'll save 50% off your first month. Again, that's puretalk.com/Levin to start saving now on your cell phone plan.
Foreign policy.
Well, I tell you what, the best way to assure them is the way I assure myself, and that is, am I getting the job done? Am I getting the job done? Can you name me somebody who's gotten more major piece of legislation passed in 3.5 years? I created 2,000 jobs this last week. So if I slow down, I can't get the job done. That's a sign that I shouldn't be doing it. But there's no indication of that yet. Mm-hmm. None. What do we got here?
All right, let's pot it down just for a second. This is what I keep telling everybody. Let's look at the polls. No, let's not. People are too giddy. Commentators are too giddy. Analysts are too giddy. Politics is a very strange thing. 1 minute up, 1 minute down. 1 minute up, 1 minute down. I tell you folks the truth. This guy's a disaster. He's a substantive disaster, and he has dementia. This press conference means nothing to me, but it will be hailed as the real Joe Biden by some. Why? He hasn't really screwed up, has he, Mr. Producer? Just a touch. He lies. He always lies. Yeah, I know, calling Trump as vice president. But as a general matter, so far, he's holding his own. He's also getting softball questions from the European press, I might add. But this guy's dangerous in every respect. But he's not going to go away easily. His party's not going to go away. His vice president's not going to go away. And his media are not going to go away. We have a fight on our hands. A fight. I'll be right back.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Nothing earth-shattering, one way or the other with Biden right now. He is starting to mumble more, if you notice that, Mr. Producer. There'll be ups and downs. That's the nature of dementia. There'll be ups and downs. Everybody's hanging on every syllable. Not me. This guy needs to go. He needs to go because of dementia. He needs to go even without dementia. And, of course, he was attacking Trump. That's when he gets most focused and he's able to put his sentence together. He's been a disaster in foreign policy. Complete disaster, despite what he's saying tonight. So some people will act like this is the Gettysburg Address. Some people will act like this is all complete gibberish. And I look at things from a perspective. I put things in context. More of a historic perspective, that what he has said and is saying tonight won't matter. President Trump, his campaign, the Republicans running for the Senate and the House, they must run robust campaigns with grassroots activists knocking on doors, working the precincts with an appropriate number of lawyers just in case. They need to focus on their game. They need to focus on going on offense. They need to focus on getting their message across. Regardless of Biden, regardless of Harris, regardless of the New York Times, regardless of all of them. That's what they have to do to win. Period. Biden's not going to roll over and play dead. He may step off the platform, but he's not going to roll over. Kamala Harris isn't. The Democrat Party is not. The media aren't going anywhere. They're corrupt as hell. All of them. They're corrupt as hell. But we can't hang on every speech, on every sentence. This is gibberish. This is not. He performed well. President of the United States has to do more than perform well in one speech or press conference. He's performing okay. Okay, no disasters up till now. But so what? It's not this isn't a speech that a fifth grader gives. Seriously, ladies and gentlemen, this has become a joke. Our world is being defined by the Democrats. Our world is being defined by their media. I refuse to go along with this. And I'm not going to. Resist we much, and much we will resist, to quote the great Al Sharpton, Mr. Producer. There's really no good time to raise this, so I'll raise it now. There are other things going on. Former Attorney General Michael Mukasey has a fantastic piece in the Wall Street Journal. I'll just start it, but it's important because things are still going on outside of this particular speech/press event or whatever you want to call it. He says Jack Smith isn't a special counsel by law. There's good news and bad news for special counsel Jack Smith. The good news is that he may not have to confront the thorny issues stemming from the Supreme Court's presidential immunity decision. The bad news is that the good news may put him out of a job. That result would follow from a finding either that there is no legal authority for the creation of the office of special counsel, that he wasn't appointed in compliance with the Constitution, or some combination of the two. The Constitution's appointment clause limits how executive offices can be created and how they might be filled. Before the Revolution, the king could both create and fill offices. The Constitution eliminated that power by giving Congress the authority to create offices or to authorize their creation in specific instances. and requiring the advice and consent of the Senate before the president could fill certain offices. It empowers the president to nominate and appoint officers of the United States not specifically provided in the Constitution, only with the advice and consent of the Senate, and only to offices which shall be established by law, by Congress. The Appointments Clause does allow for the appointment of officers by the president, a court, or the head of the department, such as the Attorney General, but again, only when such appointment is permitted by law. Authority for appointment of the current special counsel doesn't exist by law, but rather through a set of regulations put in place unilaterally by Attorney General Janet Reno in 1999. They don't have the force of law passed by Congress, signed by the president, and can be changed at any time by any attorney general. While concurring in the majority opinion on the issue of presidential immunity, Justice Clarence Thomas, we pointed it out, wrote separately to raise the question of whether any law has created the office of special counsel. He noted that Mr. Smith was appointed by the attorney general, and that Mr. Smith relies not on one but on 4 statutes as authorizing the office of special counsel. Justice Thomas notes that none of them refers specifically to creating such an office, that 2 are generic provisions concerning the functions of the Attorney General, that a 3rd refers to the duties of attorney, specifically the Attorney General appointed by the Attorney General under law, which suggests an attorney already appointed under some other law. And the 4th that refers to the appointment of officials to detect and prosecute crimes and appears in a chapter that creates the FBI, not one that creates prosecutors. So Thomas reasons that if Congress has not reached a consensus that a particular office should exist, the executive, in the person of the Attorney General, lacks the power to do so. And U.S. District Judge Aileen Cannon of Florida, where the prosecution of Trump for an unlawful handling of classified documents is pending, has already heard arguments relating to both the creation of the special counsel's office and Mr. Smith's appointment. And he finishes his brilliant piece that there is absolutely no authority for Jack Smith or anything that he's doing. No statutory authority, no constitutional authority, no delegation authority. None whatsoever. None. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
All right, America, we're back. Senator J.D. Vance, how are you, sir?
Good, Mark. How are you?
Good. It's a pleasure to have you. We had a little confusion there for a while, but you're here. You're always welcome here. You're always treated with respect.
Well, thank you.
And
appreciate that.
We're watching Joe Biden, or I was, and it's Senator. The test needs to be higher than whether you can complete sentences and conduct a press conference adequately. What do you make of the situation today with Biden, the Democrat Party, and the press?
Well, I have to say I haven't seen all the presser because I was actually helping a congressional candidate here in Ohio raise a little money. He's a good guy, challenging an incumbent. But look, the big problem, Mark, with the Democrats' entire narrative is they're on the one hand arguing that Biden isn't fit to serve. And, of course, Republicans have known that from the very beginning. I mean, it was obvious if you watched any conservative media that the guy was a disaster. But if he's not fit to run for president, how can he actually be fit to serve as president? Mm-hmm. And how can they remove him from the ballot without also removing him from the Oval Office? The other problem that they have, Mark, is they can't say in good faith that this is about public service or the good of the country. They've saddled America for 3.5 years with a president who can't even function mentally. And now when he becomes a political liability, that's when they want to get rid of him. Not when he invited any number of world conflicts all over the place, not when he caused any number of problems, not when any of them knew from their private meetings that he was causing great harm to the country in some of the conduct of the office. The point at which they say they want to get rid of him is when he becomes a political liability. This is not about public service to the public good. This is cynical, and I think we have to call the Democrats out on it because whether Biden's their nominee or Kamala or anybody else, they are all complicit in saddling America with a president who can't do the job.
Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. Let's say he can get through a press conference or get through a speech. That's just not good enough, is it, Senator? I mean, look at his record. It's a disaster. The Middle East is blown up. Russia's invaded Ukraine. Our border's wide open. Inflation's through the roof. He's up there today, this evening. He's talking as if he's this great conquering general, that the world is working together with the United States, that the economy's back and running and so forth. I mean, the fact is he's a complete disaster, and we're going to have to address the substance, too, yes?
Oh, that's exactly right. He is a complete disaster, and you're right, too, that the standard cannot be, can you stand up there and give a speech from a teleprompter, or can you hold it together during a 60-minute press conference? The standard has to be, do you have the energy and the excitement and the passion to do this job for the next 4 years? And obviously, Mark, we're sort of on the same team here. We both believe that Donald Trump is very much up to the job and Joe Biden isn't. Here's sort of the deeper issue here is, Mark, these guys are savvy. The bad guys and the good guys on the world stage, whether they're allies of America or not, these are savvy people. They are trying to extract benefits in their conversations with them. This is not something where you can sort of retreat to your staff and have them run diplomacy for you. You need to be with it. You need to be sitting in there. You need to be engaged. You need to recognize when somebody's trying to get one over on you. And clearly this guy doesn't have that ability. No one can argue that he does. And again, I think it's a real scandal here, not just that Biden and his staff have gone along with this, but that the entire Democratic Party has engaged in a massive cover-up. And what have they covered up? That America has a president who can't function properly, can't meet basic standards for doing the job. I actually think, look, if you believe, as I believe, that Joe Biden is severely cognitively compromised, I actually think Kamala and the people around him are more responsible for it than he is. In some ways, he is, the guy who is being led around the old folks' home is much less morally culpable than the people who are leading him around, telling him what to do, and lying to the American people about it.
Plus, she has a constitutional duty under the 25th Amendment. She has a constitutional duty to work with the cabinet, see if a majority of the cabinet and she send a letter to Congress, admitting the obvious. And she doesn't. She goes out, as you point out, she lies about his cognitive state. She does it every single day. She's going to keep doing it. And so, to me, that demonstrates that she's not fit to be a president of the United States either, no?
Oh, exactly right. This is the big scandal here that no one wants to talk about, is that she has lied to people. She has covered up for Biden's cognitive decline, and she's covered up for any number. Mark, you know this. You understand how politics works at a high level. How many scenarios over the last 3.5 years will we never hear about where Biden's failure to function properly in the room with world leaders has caused great harm to the United States? Whether it comes from an economic arrangement, a trade negotiation that has really not been as good as it should be for the United States, whether it's, you mentioned the wide open southern border, I guarantee that ties directly to the fact that the guy doesn't know what's going on, so he's being led around by very radical staff. We on issue after issue, his failure to do basic, or to be able to do the basic job, I think has made this country less secure. It's opened the border. It's made the inflation crisis worse. And every Democrat, especially Kamala Harris, is culpable in it. I actually find it very interesting, Mark, and it gives away the game here that the media is not interested in the truth and they're not interested in the public good. They are somehow saying that Joe Biden should resign or step down, and the person who should replace him, Kamala Harris, has been complicit in the entire charade. That's not about public duty. That's about the media realizes they have a dead weight around their neck and they're trying to get rid of it.
Well, I know you have to go. You're campaigning for the gentleman. By the way, who is it that you're campaigning for?
His name is Orlando Sanza. He's an Army veteran, great guy, Filipino-American, four beautiful kids and a beautiful family. And he actually has a real chance to upset a Democratic incumbent in what has become a more Democratic district, but it's not, it's like a Democrat +5 district. And so I'd encourage your listeners to go and look him up. He's genuinely a good Christian conservative guy, and I think that we have an opportunity to send him to Congress.
Well, we don't have any more time, Senator. We've got a lot to discuss with you, but we'll know by the end of next week whether you're the vice presidential nominee. I'm not going to do a dumb talk show. Senator, can you tell us? Can you tell us? I'm not going to do that to you. Number one, you can't tell us. Number two, you probably don't know. But anyway, good luck. Be safe out there, Senator.
Thanks, Mark. We'll do it again soon. Bye.
All right. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin, an unapologetic patriot and unapologetic constitutionalist. You can reach him at 877-381-3811.
You know, don't get caught up in the media game, even by the good guys, for the Washington game. I'm not here to watch every pitch of every inning, every public appearance, every public statement. This, whatever they call it this evening, press conference speech or whatever it was a C+. There was stammering, there was stuttering, there were some gaps, some confusion. But when you test it against the typical Joe Biden, it wasn't an F. It's a C, C+. Okay, so where does that bring us? Where does that take us? Nowhere. The man has dementia. It displays itself in different ways at different times. Sometimes you can see it's overwhelming. Other times you can see it's debilitating to a point. Other times it's expressed in the way one speaks or their memory in front of a crowd. Whatever it is. Whatever it is. He doesn't have stage 7 or stage 6 dementia, in my view. He is stage 5, heading towards stage 6. He can't serve a full 4 years. It's not possible. So the fact is he's not competent to be president. I don't care what the hell happens from speech to speech or press conference to press conference, ladies and gentlemen. And his allies, his biggest supporters, his donors, his media, they see it. And so we're not going to genuflect every time he completes a sentence. And yet this seems to be the way this is being reported, like it's some kind of baseball game. Well, he had a good inning there. Yeah, he did, Frank. His curveball was really on. Yes. Not like, last night. God, he couldn't throw a pitch. In fact, he was thrown at the left field, not across the plate. Okay, got it. We know the problem. We know it's the biggest cover-up in American history. We know his policies are horrendous. That we can't withstand this much longer. It's interesting to analyze what their media say. But their media are corrupt. It's interesting, if not frustrating, to hear what their activists say. They're propagandists. They have their own agenda. Some want him, some don't want him. Some are running scared, some are not. So be it. Just remember this, who they are, what they've done to this country, and what they will do to this country. And remember who you are, that you love our country, and what you need to do as an activist in a campaign or a political atmosphere in order to defeat them. Nothing has changed. They lie. They use the law against our president. They use a law against protesters of one sort and not against protesters of another. We have it all figured out. We know the problems. Now, I could have Mr. Producer paste together one mumble after another after this, whatever it was, 60 minutes. To what end? We already know. And you'll hear some of the goose-stepping media behind Biden telling you how fantastic he was. He's not fantastic, and he wasn't today. And he wasn't today. I'm not playing the Washington game. I'm not playing the media game. I'm not playing the establishment game. I'm calling it as I see it. Our country's future's on the line, whether he completes a sentence or he doesn't. The man has dementia, and it's advancing, period. The Vice President of the United States is unqualified. She doesn't follow the Constitution, and she is an idiot. apart from dementia. The Democrat Party's going to have to do better than this. But they won't. They won't. They have to be defeated. Let me tell you a little secret. I want you to listen to this. This is Hakeem Jeffries. This is now the refrain that's out there. You're to hate Project 2025. They say that. Their supporters don't even know what Project 2025 is. Most of you don't know what Project 2025 is. But you're supposed to hate it. Oh, no. No. I'm not part of Project 2025. Are you kidding me? No, I'm not part of... They have projects, they have plans, they have strategies. They have memos that left. You ever hear... No, I'm not part of that memo. No, I want nothing to... Excuse me. They put out an entire report, about 120 pages. We talked about it. The Bernie Sanders people and the Biden people. Read like some kind of communist manifesto in every respect of our society and culture. They didn't run from it. No, we're doing this for the people. We run and we hide. Tomorrow evening, I'm going to have Kevin Roberts on this program. He is the president of the Heritage Foundation. It's under their auspices that Project 2025 has been developed. And I'm going to have him explain it to you. Because the vast majority of that project, you don't have to agree with every dot and T. You don't have to. But the sum and substance of it is it's a conservative, limited government, pro-faith document. That's it. Hakeem Jeffries at a press conference today. Cut 16, go.
This week has once again made clear that the extreme MAGA Republican agenda is to jam Trump's Project 2025 down the throats of the American people.
See how this goes? Now, I have no conflict or disagreement with President Trump when he says, look, that has nothing to do with me. Why? Because he runs his own campaign. He decides what policies he wants to emphasize. He decides how to beat the enemy. And maybe after he's elected, he'll embrace parts of it or he won't. But since he and his campaign had nothing to do with Project 2025, he doesn't want to run on it. It's nothing to do with me, he says, and he's right about that. But I'm not part of the campaign, and I'm not running for president. So what is Project 2025? At a minimum, you have a right to know what's in it. And the outstanding organization that has produced it. Hakeem Jeffries doesn't know everything that's in it. He hasn't read it. He's handed 5 bullet points that distort and spin what's in that document. And so Trump and his people have decided, look, we are in no position to defend this document. We didn't have a role in it. We're going to run our campaign. I have no problem with that whatsoever. But I have a problem with Hakeem Jeffries that thinks he's going to run on it. And his ilk. They hate the NRA. They hate the Federalist Society. They hate Make America Great Again. They hate Project 2025. They hate all the things that we love. Joe Biden, during his press conference, said today that more young people are killed by bullets than in any other way. That's a lie. His open border is killing more young people. They're being sold into sex slavery. They're disappearing, 85,000 of them they can't even keep track of. His radical left-wing judges, his Soros prosecutors, they're killing the people in our streets. They are. Coming across the border, not just illegal aliens, illegal drugs, and yes, unmarked illegal weapons, many of them made in communist China. He takes no responsibility for this. None. No responsibility for the Democratic mayors and city council. And as I said, prosecutors who run these cities. None. None. No responsibility for the crime committed by illegal aliens who shouldn't be in this country or are here by the millions and millions and millions. No responsibility for the riots of 2020 when he said nothing to defend the police officers in this country. Not a word. So Joe Biden's idea is to curtail your liberties, your liberties under the Bill of Rights, to curtail your free speech, your freedom to assemble, to curtail your Second Amendment rights, your due process rights, your equal protection rights, your right to competent counsel. He goes on about corporate profits. Corporate profits? We haven't had inflation like this since Jimmy Carter was in office. And by the way, he's got more billionaires backing him than Trump could ever have. Corporatists, corporate profits, they make more money off of government and your taxes than off the free market system. He claims that he's brought businesses back to the United States. Man's been in Washington for half a century when we've lost businesses and jobs overseas. And he says he's brought them back. The semiconductor industry. Honest to God, the only president in my lifetime who's talked about this is Donald Trump, and he's done something about it. Businesses aren't coming back, so Joe Biden can tax them more, raise their capital gains taxes, regulate them to death. That's not why they're coming back to the United States. Because Trump laid the foundation for them to come back to the United States, and he's going to have to fix all the disasters. All the disasters that Biden has done. Project 2025. Do you hear them condemn the Hamas wing of their party the way they condemn Project 2025? Do you hear them condemn Tlaib and Omar and AOC and Bernie Sanders? Do you hear them condemn them? No. Do they condemn anti-Semitism? Barely, if ever. No. Project 2025. Oh, I'm scared to death. Oh, Project Myrtle. Yeah. Project 2025. Oh, my God. Project 20. Yes. Project 2025 MAGA. My God. Frank, what are we going to do about it? I don't know. Frank, what's Project 2020? How the hell do I know, Myrtle? It just scares the hell out of me. What am I doing, Rich? I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we suspected here on this program and in this audience, the Islamo-Nazi regime in Iran, funded and paid for, by the way, along with billionaire Democrat dark money donors, Mohammad Kazemi, head of intelligence for the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, issued the directive back in April when the campus protests started gaining steam. Leaked documents show they planned and they funded the so-called pro-Palestinian protests in the United States on our college campuses and in Europe. Our schools have been penetrated. Our media have been penetrated. If you're asking yourselves, where the hell is the Treasury Department? Where the hell is the FBI? Where the hell is the Department of Homeland Security? Where the hell is 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Joe Biden? And where is Blinken? Let me repeat. I'm posting them right now, the leaked documents. Leaked document shows IRGC intelligence chief, the Iranian intelligence chief, planned, funded, so-called pro-Palestinian protests in the United States and Europe. Mohammad Kazemi, head of intelligence for the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, issued the directive back in April when the campus protests started gaining steam. And I will remind you that yesterday Kamala Harris gave a speech where she, I guess, spoke to a podcaster, I suppose, but I think she gave a speech in which she endorsed these protests, in which she said this is the way it's done. Well, not with the extremists, but this is how you affect policy and change policy. And I want you to know that there is an Islamic IRGC Hamas wing of the Democrat Party, and it is represented in the Biden-Harris administration. Mumbles, dementia, call it what you will. The enemy has a stronghold in the Democrat Party. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a packed, powerful program today. We've been very nimble and flexible, as we must be. I want to salute all our heroes out there. Thank you. I want to thank each and every one of you for being strong patriots and listening to the program. And I'll see you right here tomorrow. God bless you.